Hi, I'm Sarish Sudhakaran, and let me reveal to you a few of the awesome camera secrets of Rules of the Game, one of the greatest movies ever made. Incidentally, it is also one of the first movies to use deep focus cinematography extensively, even before Citizen Kane. Rules of the Game is about social classes. The rules of the game are the rules for each class. If you stray beyond the rules, you are in all kinds of risk. All the characters are related and bound by these rules. The same story happens to both classes, masters and servants, at the same time, in the same house. For example, Robert is mirrored by Schumacher. Christine is mirrored by Lisette. Both have relationships with Octave, who is sort of the glue between both worlds. And finally, both women are chased by men, Christine by André and Lisette by Marceau. Both Marceau and André are outsiders. One plays by the rules and survives. The other disregards the rules and pays the price. I don't want to reveal too much and spoil the fun. Anyway, all of this is happening together with multiple layers of dialogue and action. Lots of characters moving in and out of rooms. The blocking and camera work is breathtaking really, and it is so seamlessly edited you don't even notice the cuts. This movie was made in 1939. It was the most expensive film to date and unfortunately a financial disaster. Director Jean Renoir decided to use deep focus to make sure we could catch as much of the action as possible. However, the use of deep focus in Rules of the Game is different from Citizen Kane in one fundamental way. Jean Renoir only uses deep focus when he needs to, and uses soft focus when that is more appropriate. The climactic scene in the greenhouse is a brilliant example of avoiding deep focus for reasons you'll easily grasp when you watch the movie. Needless to say, the focus pulling is brilliant as well and seamless. Bottom line, there are very few films in the history of cinema that are better examples of camera blocking and movement. In this video, I want to give you a taste of the master's techniques. 3 of them, through which he was able to tell a complicated story in such a fluid and dynamic way. Technique number 1. Let's start with blocking. The foreground, middle ground, and background. Actors occupy all 3 positions as on a chessboard. When one moves, another comes to take their place. Let me illustrate with a simple example. Here Octave, played by the director himself, enters and is greeted by Lisette, the maid. They're in the midground. A servant is in the background and he steps forward to take the middle ground. Notice the reflection of the butler in the mirror. This movie is full of mirror reflections that further increase depth. Nothing is by accident. Door opens, the butler moves into the shot, and the husband, Robert, emerges from the door. He takes the background. At this exact instance, Octave and Lisette move to the foreground. The servant follows. The husband moves to take the midground, and the butler brings up the rear. When Octave turns back to greet Robert, the servant gives Lisette the tray. So there's multiple action happening at the same time. Notice the butler at the door in the back. When Lisette walks out of frame, Octave is seamlessly in the middle ground again with Robert. The butler is at the door and the servant vanishes for a brief instant. As they make their way forward, the servant takes the middle ground and along with the butler exit the background. At the same time, Octave and Robert exit the foreground as well. 2 social classes moving in opposite directions. Octave coming from under, remember he's the glue. The rest go back downstairs where they belong. Technique number 2, the L movement. Here we use technique number 1 but multiplied by 2. The camera pans left or right and the characters move along an L shape. If you've watched my video on Spielberg, you'll notice his blocking and camera movement is very reminiscent of Renoir's work in Rules of the Game. Let's continue with the same scene as before. We cut to see the 2 actors in the foreground and you can see Lisette in the background by the window. As Octave moves left, the camera pans and we reveal Christine. The L movement is mostly used from one door to another. The camera tracks to reveal the background. They walk back and their place is taken by Robert. They stop for him and see how Octave knows his place. He steps back into the background and there's a reflection again. Did anybody miss that look of his? I don't think so. The characters look at Octave as if by cue the camera pans right again to reveal Lisette. Then it moves in closer. Jean Renoir uses the L movement so he can get maximum action in the same shot. The characters can walk through doors, appear in hallways, linger in mirrors, hide or reveal themselves. The entire movie is filled with such delightful blocking. This brings us to technique number 3, camera movement. More than half the shots have camera movement in them. This was hard in 1939, and it is still hard in 2018. It takes a lot of time to block and rehearse these moves. Renoir also improvised dialogue and scenes on the day of the shoot, so it was a lot harder. A great example of camera movement and also the first two techniques is towards the end when Schumacher goes on a hunt. I hope when you watch the movie you'll remember to make the connection with the earlier hunt. If I were to describe the movement in one word, I'd say it represents how we would look if we were an observer in the scene. The camera is mostly at eye level, from an observer's height. When someone runs left, we turn left. When they move right, we pan right. When they go down the room, we pause. Sometimes the camera makes these imperceptible moves on a dolly to reveal more space, exactly how we would behave if we were spying down a corridor and trying to get the best viewpoint. If you study the sequence, you'll see all three techniques used: characters moving left and right, running, hiding, moving through social structures. This is the scene where the two classes intertwine, and they both get each other. Nobody's happy, but they understand the game is being played according to the rules. This fact upset a lot of people back in the day, and the movie was banned for a while for corrupting minds. What is fascinating to me is Renoir's use of camera movement to bring excitement into an interior situation. The whole movie is breathtaking in this respect. There's always interactions and information flowing, things you want to know about the characters that come to light. You just can't take your eyes off camera. Where Citizen Kane is rigid in its composition and structure, Rules of the Game is fluid and with more open compositions. You almost think you're watching a documentary, but you would be mistaken if you didn't recognize the brilliance of Jean Renoir. And with this video, I hope I've given you a glimpse into the workings of one of the greatest directors the world has ever seen. If you want a special PDF of these techniques that you can download to your mobile phones and use in the field, become a member today. You can hit join to become a member on YouTube or save money by paying annually. You'll find the link below. By being a member, you also get instant access to exclusive bonus videos and guides, behind the scenes of my productions, discounts to my camera and filmmaking guides, and lots more. Click the link in the description to know more. And please hit like if you enjoyed this video. These videos take a lot of time and energy to make. Without your continual support and encouragement, they won't exist. Please subscribe for more cool videos like this one, and don't forget to hit the bell so you won't miss any new videos.